Something that I tweeted once, um, which I'm going to expand upon just slightly here, is the tweet said something like, the fear of death is really a dissatisfaction with the way you spent that particular day. If you, if I live a day fully, then I am not afraid of death. If I give what I can in a day, if I love the way that I can in a day, if I am filled with life in a day, then I don't fear death. But when I fall short of what I could be and what I could have done and how I could have loved in a day, then I fear death. And I don't see any reason anymore, although I have in the past feared death, but I don't see any reason to fear death anymore. I mean, this might seem kind of tongue in cheek, which it is a little bit, and it might seem kind of crass, which it isn't. But if you're living fully, if I'm living fully, if I'm living my life fully, and I'm living as some people say, the best self I can be, or the best version of me, if I'm doing that, then there's no such thing as death. Because nothing, even death, can take away a life fully lived. You know? I mean, if there's that level of joy in my life and that level of generosity in my life, then nothing can take it away. It's always there. And conversely, and this is the part that might sound crass, but I don't mean it to be, but if I'm not really alive in this life, if I am not living fully, if I am in fact functionally dead in this life, then why be afraid of death if I'm actually already dead? You know? And I don't think it's so simple as to say that, well, oh, this person's alive and this person's dead, this person's quote unquote woke and this person's not. You know, I hate that phrase. I think it's ridiculous. You know, we're all alive, we're all dead, we're all dying, we're all living. I mean, you know, it's not about dividing people into categories of who's more enlightened. For me, it's not. But if I'm living a dead life in a job I hate, in a family I hate, in a self I hate, in a mind I hate, then why would I be afraid of death? Because I'm already dead. I'm already dead. You know, in the realest sense, in an even more real sense than physical death, would I be dead in those sorts of situations. You know, if I'm trapped in this life and I'm unfulfilled and I feel unloved and I don't feel love for others, that is death. That is much more real than any physical death. So there would be no reason to fear physical death in that case, because there would be nothing lost of significance. What, a heartbeat? You know? A frog has a heartbeat. No offense to frogs. I'm sure that they're having a very enlightened experience. Probably more than us. But anyway, and by the same token, you know, I find, for myself at least, that, you know, like let's forget about life and death and just cut it down to a smaller scale and talk about satisfaction. For me, when I feel satisfaction with the day's work or with the day's activities or the day's relationships, when I feel something meaningful has happened in my day, I sleep like a baby. You know, I can go to sleep, most importantly, feeling satisfied. If I don't feel that the day has held meaning, then it's difficult for me to get to sleep because I don't have a feeling of satisfaction with the day. And I think that, kind of on a less intense scale, it is analogous to what I'm trying to say about life and death, is that, let's say we're not talking about the satisfaction with a day and the ability to feel, or the level of meaningfulness in a day as it relates to one's ability to feel satisfied and get to sleep, to let go. Because that's the thing. I mean, sleep is a little type of death. You're letting go of consciousness. You don't know if it'll return. And it's easier to do, for me at least, when I feel satisfied that the day held meaning. It's easier to let go of just the life of that one day if I feel like that day was truly lived. I can give up in a way, not in a defeatist way, but in a surrender way. I can say, you know what? I can put this day aside happily because it contained meaning. It was lived right, not in some biblical sense of right and wrong, but in the sense of righteousness, in the sense of well done and beauty and connection, whatever. And I feel that if you scale that up to a whole lifetime of meaning and satisfaction, I know that I'm only 38, so I hope I don't die soon, but and I don't believe that it's wise to pin all of one's self-worth on your accomplishments, but my accomplishments do help me feel better about the meaning of my life as I accomplish meaningful things. And that's not always a project. It can be a relationship, it could be a project, it can be a lesson that I learned. But as I become more fully myself through self-actualization, as some people call it, or embodiment of my real self, through writing. Writing is something I love to do. And every time I write, especially the first book I wrote, I felt like, wow, I did something that fits with me and with who I am. And I feel like I have just become more of who I am, and every time I do that, it makes, and I hope I'm not inviting death here, but it's okay. It's okay if it happens, when it happens, it's okay. But the more I, say, invent things or make connections with people who are my friends or lovers, the more I write books, the more it becomes okay for me to die, And I think we have value intrinsic to us, aside from what we do, So I think there's a sense in which we're all meaningful, and it's always okay for us to die. Okay in the sense that, that's a tough sentence to finish. I'm not sure I can, actually, so I don't think I will. Anyway, those are some thoughts. Life and death, and coffee.